Hi Church Creek, this is Mrs. Lovett. I'm here with my dog Rocco laying on the couch. This story is about Rocco's adventures in Petlandia, written by Steve Cleverly. Rocco lived in Bel Air and dreamt of being a star, with his very own TV show and a chauffeur-driven car. Being cute and furry made stardom rather tough, especially as the only words he knew were woof and rough. Feeling brave, he folded up his PJs and a flannel, along with some ideas for Rocco's You Chew channel. Fumbling in the darkness, he scribbled a doggy note, then kissed his parents and went to get his coat. Scampering through the moonlit streets with thoughts of being wealthy, Rocco stopped beside a sign and thought, I'll take a selfie. Pulling out his eye bone, he posed and took a snap, then headed to the airport while squinting at his map. Rocco was excited because he'd never flown before, unless you count that time he slammed a laptop on his paw. And as the plane took off, he thought of A-list hounds and mutts while trying to squish his nose into a teeny bag of nuts. When Rocco got to Hollywood, he set up several meets, but most of them went wrong because he tinkled in the seats. Even though he thought he tried his best, the top dogs weren't impressed. We've seen your act before, kid, and look at how you're dressed. With failure after Rocco's confidence was shrinking. But then he saw a saxophone, which kind of got him thinking. I need to learn some new tricks to really make me shine, and then I'll make some videos and I'll post them all online. Meanwhile, back in Bel Air, his mommy found a note. Our dog thinks he'll be famous, oh what a silly goat. But suddenly his daddy looked up and saw Rocco on the news. He'd become an online superstar with 50 million views. It seems dogs can learn new tricks, his mommy thought out loud. And his daddy started laughing. They both felt very proud. There was Rocco on a chat show, tootling away, while teetering on a unicycle doing doggy ballet. Soon the world was going wild for Rocco's jolly tunes. You could even buy a storybook and see him in cartoons. He bought a doggy mansion and a limo and a yacht. He even met the president and partied quite a lot. Other doggies lined up to shake Rocco by the paw, and scripts for pet-based movies came tumbling through the door. He'd sit and count his money while laughing on his throne. But when he wasn't working, he'd often feel alone. Because he felt so lonely, Rocco bought more stuff. But even though he had it all, it was never quite enough. He tried some doggy yoga, which he thought might make him happy, but that just tied him up in knots and made him sore and snappy. Then suddenly it hit him as he chewed his oldest bone. What Rocco wanted most was to be snuggled back at home. Yet he'd miss his fancy life, the palm trees and his chauffeur, but none of that compared to cuddling his mommy on the sofa. He called off all his concerts and gave away his things, but all his flights home were fully booked, so he clung onto the wings. Hanging on for dear life as the plane took to the skies made Rocco think of tummy rubs, and tears welled in his eyes. Soaring over Bel Air, Rocco thought, I'd had a hoot, but home is where the heart is, so I need to parachute. Fumbling in his suitcase, he found a sparkly gown, then used it as he leapt off to sort of slow him down. Tumbling through the fluffy clouds was quite a rush, but Rocco had to slow down or he'd soon be doggy mush. Just then he saw a mattress dumped onto a roof, so he steered himself toward it and landed with a woof. Jumping into his daddy's arms, Rocco cried with joy. Then Mommy squeezed the squeaker in a squishy, squashy toy. Fame is pretty epic, but snuggling is the best, thought Rocco as he curled up to enjoy a well-earned rest. Miles away in Hollywood, things were much the same, and countless pets arrived each day to search for wealth and fame. They often spoke about the dog who played the saxophone, and how he left it all behind because he missed his home. But Rocco wasn't bothered that he'd given fame the shove, because his trip had taught him that what really counts is love. And that's the story of Rocco's adventures. Thank you for listening. Rocco, say thank you. Bye, everyone.